In this video, let us look into the relationship between the zeros and coefficients of a quadratic polynomial. So before we look into the relationship between the zeros and the coefficients of a quadratic polynomial, let us first try and quickly recap. In fact, we've already made videos based on the zeros of a polynomial. So I'll just take you through a quick recap of what are the zeros of a polynomial and what is the coefficients. So say for example, we've got ax squared plus bx plus c, which represents, say this is equal to something that is a function of x. Okay. So now what is the zero exactly? The zero of this particular quadratic expression is nothing but the values of x should be such that you need to get 0. Say for example, you have 2x squared plus 3x plus 5. This is a quadratic expression, and then say the 0 of this would be, you need to substitute some value in the place of x such that when you solve this equation, when you operate it, you need to eventually end up with a 0. So that value which you will give it to x such that you will end up in 0 is called the 0 of this particular polynomial. Now, in the same way, what is a coefficient of a quadratic polynomial? The coefficient is nothing but the constants associated with the variables are called the coefficients. This is a, this is b, and then this is c. So a, b, c are the coefficients of a quadratic polynomial. So what we'll do in this video is quickly let us look into the relationship between the zeros and the coefficients of a quadratic polynomial. So we've got two things first. So the first thing that we've got is sum of the zeros. How is sum of the zeros related to the coefficient? Sum of the zeros is nothing but it is equal to minus b by a, especially sum of the zeros of a quadratic polynomial, that is equal to negative of b by a, or it's equal to coefficient of x divided by coefficient of x squared, because b is the coefficient of x and a is the coefficient of x squared. So this is what is the relationship between the sum of the zeros and the coefficients. So when you add the zeros, that is equal to negative b by a. And the next one is product of the zeros. Product of the zero equals c by a. That is nothing but constant term. The constant term is c. Constant term divided by the coefficient of x squared. So these are the two kinds of ratios that you need to remember as far as the relationship between zeros and coefficients of a quadratic polynomial is concerned. So this ends this video. It's a pretty simple video. All you have to remember is sum of the zeros equals minus b by a, and you need to know what is b and a. B is the coefficient of x and a is the coefficient of x squared. You can see this equation for that. And the product of the zeros is c by a, which is a constant term. C is a constant term and a is a coefficient of x squared again. So that ends this explanation as well as this video. In the forthcoming video, we will look into the problems based on the relationship between the zeros and the coefficients of a quadratic polynomial.